Good morning, my brothers and sisters. Thank you so much for tuning in to the podcast number 29. I think you are going to be encouraged today because that's what this passage is all about. Thanks for joining us. We are finishing up a section of the Bible that is the farewell discourse. It runs for about 3 chapters at the end of John. There's one more chapter left, which is called the Great High Priestly Prayer, and then Jesus is arrested and the whole crucifixion process starts. So these are precious, precious words. And the verse that we're going to talk about today is the watershed between the farewell discourse, which runs chapters 14, 15, and 16, to the high priestly prayer, which is chapter 17. Very critical thing. Jesus has just talked about how the disciples are going to be scattered, and the Father continues to love them, but also that he is not alone, that the Father is meeting Jesus in this hour, critical hour, that the Father and Son are going to be in intimate fellowship, and he's going to have this presence of the Father. And then he says this concluding verse to the disciples. Here it is. John 16:33, famous verse. I have said these things to you, that in me you may have peace. In the world you will have tribulation, but take heart. I have overcome the world. I have said these things to you, that in me you may have peace. In the world you will have tribulation, but take heart. I have overcome the world. So let's just run through this. The critical parts of this is that he wants us to be in him. That's our connection with this is we are small potatoes. He's the big potato, and we have to stay in him to do this. That's the whole abiding thing. Keep that maple syrup in your vein. And Jesus is offering peace. It's unbelievable to think that Jesus can offer peace because the next thing he says is that in this world, what kind of a world do we live in? What kind of people do we live with? Tribulation, persecution, oppression, affliction. Another translation has it trouble. So that's the environment. That's the milieu that we're in, and he wants us to take heart. Why? Because he's the one that has overcome, and we get to be in communication with him. I've said these things to you, so remember them. Let the Holy Spirit work and bring these things to your memory. Looking at it in a negative way is, I think, like, for example, the passage in me. Well, there's probably a temptation for us to live life apart. So let's be careful about that. In me, you may have peace. Well, that must mean that peacelessness reigns in our world today, and all you have to do is read the paper, turn the TV on. It's all over the place. In the world, you will have trouble. Oh my goodness. The people say that man is basically good, just have never turned the TV on. There's this terrible world out there, and sinfulness and greediness and all the things that are a part of our world that needs to be overcome. And he says, in this milieu, don't lose heart. One of the translations actually was to be enheartened, enheartened, to be buoyed up in your heart. And just to realize you're not alone. So we can get all these things wrong. So let's be careful. We can have peace with God. What kind of a God? Well, he's an overcoming God. So let me just talk about overcoming for a second. It is the strongest word of victory that there is. It's conquering, coming in first place. The enemy that's opposed to this is vanquished. So the big part about this, part about this, is that Jesus overcomes. And we can have peace, this state of harmony and tranquility in what kind of a world? Well, think about this. The world is one of trouble and suffering, persecution, oppression, affliction. This is the image I had was of, for those of you who've seen Matrix, so Neo, is at the end of the movie. and the bad guys are shooting bullets at him. And it's almost like they're happening in slow motion. And there's one scene where he stops the bullets and he takes the bullets out of the air and kind of looks at them and then drops the bullet on the. So in this milieu of a trouble and attack, he has the state of calmness and tranquility that we can have only with the Lord. Why? Because he's the one that wins. He's the one that is the overcomer of this persecution, oppression, affliction. All right. And then what are we supposed to do at the end of this? What kind of a heart should you have when you finish listening to this podcast today? He says, in me, so let's stay in him, you may have peace. We may have a state of just perfect tranquility. Now, you're not going to change the world. There's still going to be sickness and virus and death and greediness and violence and all the things that are in our world. But our response is supposed to be, take heart, be encouraged, be enheartened. Why? Because he's the one. I have overcome the world. Jesus has overcome the world, not me. My victory is in just my association with him. 1 John 5 basically says that everyone who is born of God overcomes the world. And this is the victory that has overcome the world, our faith. Who is it that overcomes the world except the one who believes that Jesus is the Son of God? That's 1 John 5:5. So how do we get to overcome the world? Just by our participation. That's it. All right, so here's the big thing about today is he's overcome the world. He wins. And our faith is the thing that makes us win, in a sense. So he wins, and I'm on his team. So how about you? I just can't imagine a life without him. This world of greed and lust and hate and ugliness and enmity with God, we can walk through it like Neo of the Matrix with a calmness because the Lord has won the victory in a dramatic, vanquishing sort of a way. What is our world like? It is a world of trouble. You know that. I know that. But take heart today because Jesus has overcome the world. What a great, encouraging message as Jesus is just about ready to go to the cross that he leaves the church with. Thank you for listening. I pray today that you may be encouraged, that you may have heart, that you may have peace, because he has overcome. Thanks for listening. See you tomorrow.